and welcome to this edition of Cooking Up Virtual Events with my guest, the mice guru, Heidi Legein, or Legein. It's a tough one. Welcome, Heidi. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Miguel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. It's an impromptu session, a bit last minute, but we're going to make the most of it. And I think we have a really interesting event to talk about. If you're joining us on LinkedIn or on YouTube as well, please say hello. Add your where you're watching from and your name in the comments. We'd love to know who's watching us and who's interacting. And of course, ask your questions throughout. This is all about interaction. It's all about engagement. So please do ask any questions, make any comments throughout the video. We'll do our best to get to them and really engage with your thoughts and your thinking. Heidi, for those who don't know you, person who've never met you, who've never had the pleasure, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and how did you get into this crazy world of events?
Of course. So my name is Heidi. Obviously, I run a company called the Mice Guru, which is a DMC, so a destination management company here in Norway. So we produce all types of mice events, from product launches to incentives, meetings, etc. Here in Norway, all over Norway. And since the COVID-19 period, obviously we have also switched to a lot of virtual events. So now we're not only limited to Norway, but we are also doing global virtual events for clients around the world. That's basically me. I've lived in Norway for about 8 years. I've been living in different countries, working and living in different countries in the same area. I stumbled into events very early on, when I started as a representative for Thomas Cook back in the days and traveled abroad for just one season. And then I got kind of this microbe, this travel microbe that kept me going, traveling from country to country. And I started doing internal schooling, assessments, etc. Worked my way up to quality management, destination management, and then continued doing that in several countries until I came to Norway and did that here as well. Now I run my own company doing that.
Perfect. What an interesting journey. Just curious, I see a lot of people saying hello who are watching us, which is great. We'll recognize them in just a second, but I'm just wondering if any of the people joining us online, have you also worked for Thomas Cook or one of the many kind of faces of Thomas Cook in the world in your career? If you did, then please add those in the comments. It's always interesting to see to connect these dots between different people. Just going to give a few shout outs to Sina, connecting from Journey. Hello, Sina. We have Brianna as well. Brianna, nice to see you. Lena in Copenhagen, very good. We have Jen watching from the UK. Andrew watching from London, so a lot of UK coming up. And also Jane Cunningham, hello from in Stockholm, who's not from Stockholm originally, but she is in Stockholm right now. Feel free to give any shout outs you want, Heidi, as we go through. We have Chitra from London, but currently hanging out in Ghana. That is probably one of the more unusual journeys during this pandemic period, but very nice to see you, Chitra. And Carmen Chacon from El Salvador. We're going across the pond now. Hello, good morning to you, Carmen. We have Robert Nesbitt over in Israel. Hello, Robert. We have Sophie Sanders in Amsterdam. Hello, Sophie. And Brianna just says hello. She's calling in from Florida. So another person from over the pond. Great to see you. Veronica from Prague. We have Maria from Finland, and we have Irina, your good friend Irina, who I know you do a few lives and you collaborate on a few things in Germany. We have Atlanta from the UK, and we have also Carolina from Amsterdam. Hello, Carolina. And we have Vibeke from Munich, Matilda from Nice, Sven in Copenhagen. There's more than one person in Copenhagen. It's good to have a little troop. Oh, we have Kiki over from New Jersey in the US. Hello, Kiki. Nice to see you. And we have Ana Maria from Puerto Rico. We have El Salvador and Puerto Rico represented. This is quite an international crowd. And also, last but not least, Anton from Vienna and Brigitte from Belgium. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is, I feel at home now. I feel like I can relax. I feel amongst friends. This is very, very nice. Thank you for the shout outs. We're here to talk about your upcoming event. So, this is the first time that we've done a Cooking Up virtual event about an event that hasn't happened yet at all. We did one recently with Elena about the Freelancer Business Month, and that was sort of towards the end of it, but it was still happening. But this is the first time we've done one for an upcoming event. And I saw this post from Heidi and a few things about the upcoming event. And I thought it was a really, really creative opportunity, really, really creative design, really. So I just wanted you to share in your own words what this event we're going to be talking about is about. And then we'll show a video to give people a bit more of a graphical representation. But in your own words, what is this event about? And maybe tell us a little bit about why did you come up with this idea and how did you piece everything together?
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about the digital trip, which is a 2 day immersive event for both event profs and CVBs, DMCs, destination marketers, etc. So, what we're trying to do is continue promoting our destination in these times where nobody can travel here. As a DMC, it's important to us to keep marketing the destination as well. And unfortunately, due to the circumstances and lack of funding, etc., from the state, a lot of the governmental organizations and CVBs had to kind of refocus their energy and money towards local market, towards the leisure market, perhaps nationally. And the mice segment got a little bit pushed back, which is of course not good for neither for us, but definitely not for the destination either. So we thought, okay, what can we do as a DMC to keep going and to keep the momentum and keep inspiring people abroad, because they're going to come back eventually. So we don't want them to forget Norway as a destination. That's basically how the whole idea started. And then we noticed that many destinations were doing seminars and your occasional breakfast meetings and pub quizzes and things like that for like an hour or two. And we thought we can do better than this. It can be more elaborate, it can be more detailed, it can be an actual learning experience over a longer period of time. So we started experimenting in the summer, early summer, with venue showcasing, shorter version live showcases, which we did on social media. Also, Irina, who's joining here, was a part of some of those. We did a venue showcase for her digital festival, also on IG Live, which was a major success. So right after that, I got a lot of people getting in touch asking for advice. Can you help us out? This is great. We also want to do something like that. We don't really know where to start. And it just kept growing and growing from there onto what we're doing now. We have to remember that we are a community of dedicated event profs that are attending so many live events, virtual events constantly. And we've been immersed in this for a long period of time now. We've participated in so many of them. We've tested, we've demoed, we've, been part of teams, etc. But most of the CVBs and also most of the buyers and end clients have not been doing that. So they are kind of a few steps behind in a way, and they don't really know what this whole virtual world is really about yet. But they start
Okay.
realizing now that they have to do something. Like many agencies want to go into delivering virtual events, many CVBs want to start promoting virtually, but they don't know where to start exactly. So, what we've been learning in all of these
Hmm.
past couple of months is what we've put it into reality with the digital trip. So it's both
Okay.
a destination experience for event professionals to learn, but it's also for the destinations a way to learn the entire process of setting up a virtual event and virtual destination showcasing that they can put to good use after that.
So you worked on a number of events during the summer, smaller events, I assume, right? And then did you come up with this idea? Like, how did the digital trip idea start, or did somebody approach you saying, "Hey, you did a good job there. We want to do something bigger"?
It was my idea basically. I just wanted to be out there. I wanted to promote ourselves in new ways. I wanted to show that we can do this. I wanted to provide something that is more engaging, that than what has been done, than most of the things that
Hmm.
have been done virtually in terms of destination marketing and experiences. So I was looking to create something a little bit more vibrant. We've seen lots of static looking platforms, conference style platforms and event tools, and I wanted it to be more engaging. Like most of our business generally is also about brand activations, its incentives, it's very in your face in a way, right? So if you want
Hmm.
to do a conference, that will be a totally different thing online than if you want to do an actual digital experience. So the digital trip is actually set up in real time, meaning you are landing at the airport, you're getting out of the airport, you're getting onto a bus, you're going to your venue, you're going to check in your hotel, you have activities, you have things happening all around you all the time. So it's as if you were traveling to the destination. And also, one very important component that is missing in most of the seminars that other destinations are doing are is a sense of orientation. So if you travel to a destination as a fam trip or on a site inspection as an event professional, one of the
Hmm.
big reasons is to get a true feel and sense for the place. You need to get a proper orientation, but also understand the distances, understand the timings, and how your program could look like. So this is what we're doing here. You have everything, so you truly can resell the destination afterwards to end clients, to other people. And you can also use the entire 2 day digital experience as an incentive product to sell it to your clients as well. So there's a lot of different components in here that are quite interesting to work with.
So very much an educational trip about the destination and a showcase at the same time, right? Very much along the lines of what you would do in a physical sense, right? You have people come over, learn about the event, maybe for their own events, but also for if they're then selling on to other clients, right?
Exactly. So they will learn, they will have something to sell. They will also get educated about what the possibilities are in the virtual world. And they also have, of course, the networking component with the whole group of event professionals. If you look at going on a destination visit before, you would be in a group of 15, 20 people. Now you have many more people gathering at the same time online. You have new contacts that you're making and you can mingle with. It's been very educational also for us all of these months leading up to this, and also in the way that we collaborate lately. It's completely changed, right? So
Okay.
meeting fellow peers in the industry is even more important now, and you get to experience new things with them and have a lot of fun along the way as well, because we always have that fun component. It's important to us.
For sure. Let me ask you something. I mean, you talked a little bit about some of the events that you've seen that aren't maybe what you'd like to see. You know, maybe a little bit more static. Were there any events that inspired you, that gave you good ideas that then you could bring together for the digital trip?
To be honest, well, everything's been inspiring because it's been relatively new. But in terms of engagement, not really. I've seen a lot of different things. We've been on so many different platforms, and every event has their own style and their goals and their positives and negatives. I was also a very small part of Elina's team at the Freelance Business Month. I found that
Hmm.
event very interesting because it was also a different concept. It was over a longer period of time. There was lots of engagement. There were different types of sessions. You had lots of groups of people forming little micro tribes, hanging out in the same sessions all the time. So that was very interesting to watch. But then there's others that are more about either a live stream or pre-recorded footage that is just being played, and the viewer is really not engaged in any way. Unfortunately, it's still the case for most of the virtual events that you see. Even some bigger ones here in Norway that used to be in-person events, and they pivoted to virtual. I found the results very disappointing, and that's also because there is perhaps still a lack of knowledge. people, as I said, have not been involved in virtual events for a long time, and they don't really know how to engage the crowds yet. So that's what we're trying to change with the digital trip, to really give you a severe case of FOMO if you're missing a part of the program. Like, you want to get back there because it's really exciting. You want to see what's happening constantly. That's the idea.
Great. I'd like to open up to anybody who's watching. If you agree with Heidi, let us know. Or if you've been part of lots of events that have been really engaging, let us know. We'd love to know more about events that are engaging. I think also Elina made an interesting point when she was on the show that not all events need to be engaging is usually good, but not all events need to have participation all the time. There's also a case to be made about content that can be just consumed on demand or consumed in different ways. So I guess it always depends on the objectives of the event, but it's good to know that this is what you're going for with the digital trip, right? Maximum engagement, getting people connected. So yeah, let us go ahead.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Choice is always important. Just a few more shout outs to Naomi, Rose in Manchester. We have also Micah in Hamburg and Christian, who I had the pleasure of speaking to on Friday, also on LinkedIn, Christian from Cologne. So some more people from Germany joining us. So let's go to the video. I'd like to showcase a little bit of what you've done to present this event, and then let's keep our chat going, because I think this is going to be really interesting. Over to the video. Whoa, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. There's definitely FOMO happening. A few comments from the people watching as well on LinkedIn. Atlanta says very excited for the digital trip. So excellent. Hopefully some of the people watching are also joining. We have Lena saying impressive, fab job, Heidi. Says Lena. So I don't know if anybody is confirmed, has bought a ticket for the digital trip, who's online with us. But if you have, let us know. Always good to know. A few more shout outs to Moggy Lyons, who is in London, and Carolina in Madrid. So we have quite a nice crowd here. Just tell us a little bit more. Decode that's a little bit for Heidi. That was all flashy. That was impressive. Who are all these characters? What's happening in this video? There's all these different people that we're going to meet and all these different places. That looks really impressive. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, as you saw, it's a real-time experience, right? So basically, it's timed as if you had an entire day of experiences on site. And then also it is filmed from the visitor's perspective. So no embellished videos, no perfect productions of venues, of hotels, or anything like that. You see everything as it is, as if you would just arrive, as if you would look outside the window of your transfer bus, as if you would step outside of your hotel and look around. There's people, there's cars, everything is the reality of the destination, right?
Yeah, and I
So
have to admit, at first I was a little bit surprised to see that, but then I think it makes sense. We discussed this a little bit, that because it's also sort of an educational trip for people, it's good for them to see what happens in real time. So when they do visit in person, then this is what they will experience. So I understand why you'd want to go through that whole process, right?
yeah, and you're looking at things with your own eyes. It's the eyes of wonder when you're arriving in a new place for the first time. We all miss that. We want to travel again. We want to arrive in a place that we haven't been before and look around. And you look around and literally see what is there. Like it can be, it can be people passing, or it can be kids playing, or it can be whatever it is that's going on, which makes it extra interesting. It adds kind of an extra aspect to the experience. So there's both transfers by bus that have the actual time of the distance. There are walks from place to place, as if you would walk from an activity to the next venue or next experience. And those are also meant to serve as breaks. So basically, you have all types of things happening throughout the day. You will exactly that's one of the transfers. I believe it's the very first one from the airport. One of the first thing you see is the beach there. So you have a countdown saying this transfer is lasting for 20 minutes. You can mingle with the other people there. You can have a chat as if you were meeting new people on the bus for the first time that are joining this trip, or you can just
So the
enjoy
bus can also be a backdrop for finding your tribe and doing your networking in a way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you have networking options open. You have the live chat open all the time. You can go into meetings with other people, and you can also use the transfer times as breaks because, of course, it's an entire day. So we don't expect everybody to stay glued to their seat the entire day. We have lots of breaks, and then you have other breakouts that you can check out. This
And
little
this is also the walking around the town. Is that also one of the breaks?
there are different types of breakouts. So there's, for example, one that's let's go shopping, where you see this man, which is Alex Hart from he's a local entrepreneur telling a little bit about the story of the shop and what's happening there. You walk through the shopping streets. You really look around as if you would on your own. There's a breakout that talks a little bit more about innovation, for example, where you go to visit a startup. There's breakouts that show some of the local restaurants that you can check out, different types of things that you can do in the breaks if you want to just stay connected and keep going. And then there's the live streams and activities that are happening, of course, at specific moments, and that's everything from live cooking classes to a major welcome party, a really awesome goodbye party as well. There's a cocktail class, there is a mentalist, there is different things happening all the time that are engaging. And in the same time, we have a whole lot of competitions happening. So there's cool prizes to win also around the and during the entire journey. You get to discover people and products and places, and then you get engaged into competitions, and you can win these fabulous prizes. Anything from master chef cooking books to a 2-day trip for two to Stavanger, actually. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening constantly.
Perfect. Well, I think I decided to show the video again on a separate screen just because there's so much that you want to kind of refer to visually. So I think it's really interesting. So let's get to a little bit of what people are saying that are watching. Thank you everybody for the comments. Sina says yes, she's looking forward to it. She's registered. Lena also has registered. And yeah, there's quite a few comments about the content already. Robert Dunsmore from the UK, he says this format has other opportunities. It could be used to run or curate a festival, perhaps. What do you think, Heidi? Is that your
Absolutely.
next move? You're going to do a festival next?
Well, festivals are not our main focus, but with the digital trip, we are really trying to cater to all types of event planners that do all types of events, and they can obviously do them also in person in Norway afterwards. So we have little hints to other types of events, sports events, conference events, also a festival that we show during the digital trip. So you get a good idea of all the opportunities and all the possibilities in the destination.
Perfect. Really, really interesting. We have hello from Tobias from Cologne. Thank you for joining us, Tobias, and also Francesca Corradi from Florence. She loves the idea. And we have Mike McAllen all the way from California joining us as well. So thank you for joining us. We have a few questions, so I thought we should jump into some questions. We'll go through our own questions later on, or kind of our structure. But I think it's always great to answer questions as they come in. So please do enter any questions that you have in the chat. Christian's asked, is there exclusive content behind the scenes? Question mark. Because why else would people watch all this if they can't physically be there? Over to you, Heidi.
Well, Christian, basically everything is based on registration to begin with, right? So nothing is publicly available. You have to register to the event, and you have to be an event planner. So the tickets are subject to admission. We review the people who actually try to buy a ticket first. There are different types of tickets: a general access one, which also has a student version, and then we have a VIP ticket, which is an upgraded one with very exclusive extra things like VIP lounges, VIP only activities, a VIP box delivered to your door with great products in it. And then there is the educational track, and that is the one that is available to CVBs, DMCs, etc. So that is a full learning experience. It's access, full VIP access to the 2 days, but it's also video tutorials about the process where we touch on everything from setting the objectives through content strategy, through engagement, basically the entire process from the beginning until after the event in tutorials with 2 hours of consultancy also attached to it to talk to us and discover what you would like to do with it. Perhaps we have a lot of interest in that one. As I mentioned, there's a lot of contact also already that happened after venue showcasing, and people want to get advice or input or discuss ideas for themselves. And we have both DMCs and CVBs attending, national and international. Some of them say that they are a part of the educational track because they just want a better understanding of the entire terminology. They are not necessarily going into producing virtual events themselves, but they want to understand requests, new client demands. They want to know what everybody's talking about and what is actually out there and what the possibilities are. That's a major already a major argument for doing the educational track. Then there's also companies that want to do something like us, like they are a DMC perhaps, and they want to keep engaging, and then after some time they want to also monetize it, have virtual products that they can sell for the months and maybe even the year or two ahead of us.
Great. And a few more questions along the same lines. I think Micah asked who is the end client who would be paying. I think you've kind of answered that as well. And Maria had a similar question with the event invitation to clients and paid entrance to suppliers. So the event
No,
is kind of open. Go ahead.
not paid entrance to suppliers. Basically, we are offering the general access to event professionals, event planners that have business to Norway or virtual business. We have had 100 free tickets going out early on in the process, and now there's a very small fee attached to those general access tickets. The VIP tickets are of course a big upgrade, which involve a lot of products, so that is quite an upgrade. And then the as you call, I think suppliers, by suppliers Maria means DMCs and CVBs and people who want to do this. That is the educational track that would be available to them, but not the general access track. With the
Okay,
educational
so
track,
when they register on the educational track, they don't have access to the main event.
No,
Is
they
that
do.
right?
They do
They
have
do.
full access, but they cannot buy a ticket for the event only without the education part. Because for a DMC or a CVB, this event is kind of similar to attending several fairs. They would have our entire database of clients, all of the event profs to mingle with the participants at their fingertips, plus all of the educations and the experiences and the VIP upgrades. So all of that is included in the educational track.
Okay. Okay, really interesting. Let me know if anybody needs more clarification on that. I think it's fascinating, and how much you're putting into one event is it's quite a lot. So there's a lot on offer for what people are paying, and it's a very small price. And Rutger has just joined us. Hello, Rutger, who's over on the east coast of the US. Great, Heidi. Creativity and pioneering. How do you see this continuing post-pandemic? Is this something that is viable once the industry returns to travel? Excellent question. What do you think, Heidi?
That's a great question, Richard. And I do believe we can keep offering these products. Like, why would we stop? I mean, I'm convinced that we are not just going to go back to in-person events suddenly once everybody has gotten their vaccine, and then we drop the entire virtual events world. That's not going to happen. It's going to keep existing. There's a lot of companies that have seen the value, that are now discovering the possibilities of virtual events, and they will keep doing them. There will be a balance between both, I believe. So it's definitely something that you can keep offering for the long term, and you need to keep developing those skills required to deliver a virtual event to a client. You can see only by looking at the tools and event platforms, the evolution is so fast paced. Like, it's really hard to keep up. It's like an ocean of information. So we're literally constantly diving and swimming in the ocean and figuring everything out and testing everything, and we have to keep doing that. But I believe that once we reach this initial phase where there is a bigger understanding from end clients and agencies about the possibilities and what can actually be done, it will be easier to sell the whole idea. So now a big part of our research has been, how do we bring out that message? How do we communicate that a virtual strategy is important? And I like to compare it to actual social media back in the days. Remember when a couple of years ago, like, there were still companies saying like, yeah, we don't need to be on Instagram, we're not that kind of a company, we're professionals, that's a little bit of fun, we don't need to do that. We've evolved from that, and it's the same with virtual strategies and virtual events. People who don't see the importance of it now will see it after some time. So I do believe it's important to educate ourselves and to keep going, and to be able to uh, offer also virtual products. They can be, as some of the Ovation offices I know have already launched, incentive products, as this digital trip will also be in a very large sense, like a very elaborate 2 day full incentive. There are virtual products that you can design that can be sold as they are, or customized to the client's branding, etc. So this will become a
Perfect.
part of our services for the long term, definitely.
Okay, and Irina says festivalization of business events. I think is a nice way to summarize that. And Rutger says great work, Heidi. So nice to be part of that. Carolina says she's registered and super excited. So good to hear. Lots of FOMO being generated here. So we're just past the half an hour. Wanted to get into a little bit more details about the planning behind this. Tell me a little bit about this VIP experience. So, anybody can register for the main event. It's only for professionals. And then the supplier side, have access to this education, and they have to be part of the education side. But what about the VIPs? I assume these are buyers or other people who might have business for Stavanger and for Norway in the future. They have a VIP experience. Tell us a little bit more about what that entails.
Well, basically, the VIP experience can be purchased. Anybody with a general access ticket can upgrade, or you can buy a VIP ticket to begin with. If you just want an extra level of comfort, you want to have an extra touch, an extra layer to the experience, you want to have those fancy products, they are so nice. I wish I could just keep them for myself. My office looks like a storage room for VIP products now. Um, it's an added level of experience that gives you a certain uh, satisfaction, and especially around this time of the holidays, it's also nice to be gifted a VIP ticket, or to give it to someone else, event profs in the family, or friends, etc. So what's included there is basically the general access of the 2 days in the two entire days of the digital trip, but then you have additional lounges. You get to mingle in VIP only lounges. You have specific activities that are only open to VIPs, that involve, for example, some of the products that are delivered in the box to your door. And then you also have a different type of content coming towards you. So we have a very elaborate content strategy that has started already a while back, like beginning of last month, where we roll
Mhm.
out lots of news and ideas and competitions through email campaigns and also on social media. And the VIP
Yep.
guests have higher chances of winning those prizes. They have extra engagement options. So it's a lot more elaborate than the general access ticket.
For sure. Now, I'm going to share my thought on this, if you don't mind. But I think that the VIP package is a great idea because it's hard when it comes to virtual events to really make people feel special. And I've been thinking a lot about the difference between physical and virtual events. And for me, that's really the best way to sum it up. Physical events have a way of making people feel special. Whether it's the destination, whether it's the champagne, whatever it is that makes people feel welcome, that makes people feel social and connect with each other, that makes them feel special. And I think we really struggle to do this with virtual events. And I think something like this box, but also the continued VIP experience where you really take care of people throughout the event, I think it's a really good way to make people feel special. Do you see what I'm saying? Is that where you're trying to get at?
Absolutely, that's exactly the thought process behind it. Like an extra level of engagement. We've all been sitting at our desks forever now. We have very, very long days, lots and lots of screen time. So it has to be more fun. There has to be something extra to it. And that's already what we're designing to begin with, like the actual activities and the program and the way it's presented and the way you're experiencing things make you want to see more. Like you don't get bored easily, so it's already very engaging in itself, but that extra layer is definitely there to just help you have a great time. You're learning a lot, but you're also just really having fun, and you're having fun with your fellow event profs or other CVBs, or it's a great platform to be networking on and enjoying the experience in the same time. So it's something completely different than most of the typical presentation style seminars and webinars about destinations and their possibilities.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Elena's joined us and she says she's mega excited about HE. I don't know what she means by HE, but I'm guessing she means by the digital trip. So yes, absolutely, Elena, we are excited, and hopefully this will tempt you a little bit to, if you do want to join the digital trip, to upgrade to the VIP experience. I think it's if you're gonna go all in, then you might as well go for the full package, right, and really experience it. Not just let it be another appointment in your calendar, but a something that you really dedicate yourself to. So
You
tell
know,
me a little
I
bit
like
of. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
I think we really all deserve it by now, to be honest. I mean, after going through all of what we've been going through the last couple of months, it's been a roller coaster for a lot of us. So this is kind of like a little gift to ourselves, I would say.
Oh, perfect. Christian makes a comment, says services could be perfectly interconnected to get maximum use of the internet as a medium. And yeah, that's a great way to put it. I think that's the aim here. Just a quick question from Naomi Rose, who says, what's your motivation to have a student track? And she's very happy to have a student ticket and she can't wait. But tell us a little bit about your thinking behind the student track.
I'm very happy to have you on board as well, Naomi. So we want to be inclusive. I mean, we can see that the younger generation now is really really out there, especially in the last couple of months. We've seen that on a whole other level. A lot of us have learned so much, and we've also discovered so many young people in the industry that are making a name for themselves very very quickly, and Naomi is definitely one of those people. So we definitely want to include students, give them this type of experience, and also help them reach their goals. Like, what is it that they want to go and do? They will also learn a lot from attending the digital trip, not only have fun and mingle with important industry people, but also perhaps find their own way. Like, what is most interesting to them? Is it the conference aspect? Is it perhaps incentives or festivals? Or, it gives a kind of a taste for different aspects of the event industry, which is important that we communicate to students and the younger event industry professionals.
Absolutely. And that reminds me, actually, you also have, I think Sabrina is one of the people that's involved in this event, and there's a sort of education component as well leading up to the event. Is that something you can tell us a little bit more about as well?
You saw Sabrina's School of Stavanger. Is that what you're talking
I
about?
saw, I saw a little, I saw, a bit, I mean, there's a lot going on here. I mean, I'm doing my best to keep up and I'm trying to decode it for everybody who's with us joining. But to be honest, there's a lot going on. I want to make sure that everybody understands all the options and all the possibilities.
It's quite a big undertaking. You're totally right, and we have content rolling out many different places. We also have an event only account on Instagram at Your Digital Trip, and there's the digital trip on LinkedIn as well as a showcase page. And yes, Sabrina and Hot Hospitality Exchange have been she has been involved in the content design, a bit of the branding, and also some of the engagement for social media. And yes, she has started as one of the many things. We have competitions, we also have different types of content going out all the time, but she has started the Sabrina's School of Stavanger, which is every Tuesday, where she talks about one aspect of the destination, or something people might wonder about, or where you can learn something new. So she had one about the first one was about how to even pronounce the destination name Stavanger. It was quite funny. Then she talked a little bit about the culinary aspect, gastronomy in the destination. So things that you really want to know as an event professional and or maybe wondering about. She is the perfect person to do that, as she is also an event planner herself. So she looks at things from an event prof perspective, and puts that message out there for everybody.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit more about your team or the wider team. You know, who is collaborating with you to put all this together? I mean, this seems like quite an impressive project. So tell us a little bit more. Who's behind the scenes?
Well, our team is quite large. To be honest, it's not only the mice guru, but it's also a lot of our local suppliers and providers. Because the idea behind the digital trip is also to include as many of our partners as possible. Because we want this to be for everybody. We want everybody to be visible in a way, to contribute, and we want to showcase as many product services and places that we can in a very fun way. So that's one thing. So we have media people involved, different companies, one that does pre-recording, the other one that is responsible for all the live streams, etc. And then we have in the back office, when it comes to event platform technology, engagement, all these things, I am working with several people that I've actually bonded with recently in the last couple of months, and we've also attended and collaborated on different teams for virtual events lately. So our way of working together has changed a lot. So there are a number of freelancers that are involved in the project, that are each responsible for their own aspects of the process. For example, organizational production. There is just the delegate management, for example, content strategy, the engagement and gamification. There's different aspects of the event that are run by different people. And we have a few volunteers as well that are eager to learn more, to expand their experience, and this is really like the dream project to get involved into a lot of different aspects of running a virtual event, and getting to experience all of that behind the scenes action. You know very well, Miguel, that it doesn't happen in just a day to put together a virtual event, and it requires quite a lot of people and a lot of new knowledge. And we're all kind of getting there together and supporting each other, and we have a pretty nice team now of people who are doing just that. So I'm very happy with how
Good to
this
hear. Great to hear.
going.
Tell us about the people involved. Are they all event people? You know, normal physical event people that there, or are there virtual only kind of production people involved? And what do you think is the breakdown overall of that?
Let's say that they're mostly like-minded event professionals that used to run live events, but also have completely immersed themselves into the virtual world lately, and have done the education, got certified, have been volunteering all around, have been discovering all the different types of virtual events, and also want to keep working on it, like keep developing their own skills, but also developing the types of events that can be done. And the digital trip is a very nice example of a very creative event. So I'm really trying to push those boundaries in terms of what is possible and how you can create engagement. I remember just a small thing. I remember from a certain chat that people do not decide on tech tools based on how they look, but for example, that was one of the things that was quite important to us. If you're trying to create something vibrant and engaging, it has to look good. It has so many different aspects, and we're all kind of investigating at such a rapid pace. So you can't imagine how many tools we've tried and tested, and how many games we've tested, and
Oh,
all the
I can imagine, but yeah, it's a very thing. But yeah, tell me a little bit. I mean, I love the point that you make. I think it is true. If a tool that you're working with doesn't look good, especially if it doesn't work well, right? If it doesn't feel right, but also if it's ugly, if it's hard to find stuff, it doesn't really help, right? And that's sometimes overlooked. People's like, oh, it's not supposed to be pretty; it's just supposed to work. But actually, it makes it much easier to work with if it is actually pretty, or at least attractive. But tell me a little bit about the tools that you're using for this event. I know you're not sponsored or anything like that, so I don't want to get into a lot of details. But which tools did you choose and why, and how are you bringing them all together?
Right. Well, actually, yes, true. If it doesn't have to look good, then okay. If you have perhaps an accounting seminar, and and you're listening to a very dry sessions of information, then perhaps not. But for our style of event, it's very important to make it stand out. And you've probably seen already from the marketing and the commercial, the little promo video. It looks very flashy. There's a lot of colors, a lot of neon colors already in the design of the actual platform, and the activities, and the special the different rooms that we are using. So it's all very vibrant. We've used for this event, we've landed on InEvent as an event platform for many reasons. Basically, because of a lot of the features that we needed, they already had. So I'm also definitely a big believer that you start with the event objectives, and then find the right tools, and not the other way around. So for this particular event, that is our choice. That doesn't mean that it's our choice for all the events that we'll run or are planning. But it works in terms of interactivity options. So there's a lot of possibilities for integration, and also they were very, very proactive in terms of customer service, which I really needed in the initial months of the process. And as many of the new event platforms were incredibly overloaded, there was a delay in response time when it comes to service, when you have issues, when things don't work, and they sometimes don't. I mean, not one event platform or tool is problem free. Like, you will always encounter issues, and you have to test and retest, and you have to adjust, and you have to report things that don't work. That's just how it is. But if every single little detail takes you a week, then you have a problem, right?
I
So
think you make an excellent point because we want to find this perfect tool, or at least it feels like everybody wants to find this perfect tool for their events. But sometimes having one that maybe isn't quite perfect but very responsive, having that service level to a really good level, a really good understanding between you and the people running the technology is probably just as important, right? And I think for this event, it's been a real savior for you, or at least it's been working very well in that respect.
absolutely, absolutely. It's super important. And it's the same with our day-to-day business. I mean, you have to be responsive to clients as
Yeah.
well, right? That's how we work and operate, and everything is fast, and we have deadlines, and we have to make it happen, basically.
Sure.
So
But what other
that,
tools are you using? I mean, it's not just in event, right? There's other
no, it's not.
tools being mixed in.
So we're integrating a lot of other things, but I'm not going to name them at this time. But they're both national gamification options, and international ones that we're including in the platform that we are basically using API for, and integrating them into the main platform. And then in terms of work process, we are actually working on Slack and Google. Literally, all our documents are online and saved, and we all collaborate on them. And I've become a very big fan of Slack, to be honest. In the beginning, I wasn't so sure, but now I feel that it works very well, especially if you have an international team, you have a lot of remote people, you don't sit in the same office anymore. It works fine, and it's often a lot faster than communicating everything through emails back and forth the entire time. So that's also
Yeah,
been
it's definitely
very.
one of those companies that's been very helpful during the lockdown, right? And I think, and I totally agree with you. I find Slack a little overwhelming sometimes, but for projects, it's very efficient. And I think email is, it's the lowest common denominator. Everybody's on email, so you can always reach everybody on email. But if you want to work fast and be direct in a project and talk about a specific part of a project without having to, refer to everything or copy everybody in, then Slack, it makes so much sense, right? It's so much faster to get things done like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you just throw something in there. You need quick answers all the time. You're making decisions, you're checking out things, yes or no, pros and cons, who votes what. It's kind of also in real time. We're all connected from the morning till we go to bed these days. So
Which is not necessarily a good thing, I think
no,
in
it's
some
not.
cases
It's
it's not
not.
always a good thing. Yeah.
Not necessarily good, that's true, but we are much more live in a way, and we also work in more in a rapid pace environment. I must say I've even become a little less patient, to be honest. Like, if I have to wait a day for an answer, then I'm already like, no, okay, moving on to the next.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
It's
interesting.
it's interesting. Any other platforms or any other tools that you want to mention at this point?
Well, as I said, we are not sponsored, so we are paying our fair share for all of the tools and platforms that we use. So I don't necessarily need to name anybody specific, but I'm quite satisfied, and I'm sure the visitors of the digital trip will get to experience something nice, and they will also learn about which tools have been used in the process at that time. So I'm quite happy with
Perfect.
the choices we've made so far.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing more about those later. And Irina has an interesting point here and a question. Things are changing very fast on a weekly basis right now in terms of regulations, platforms, fatigue of virtual events, perhaps competing events. How do you prepare yourself for the uncertainty? As if we hadn't had enough uncertainty in 2020, Irina's saying, hey, it could even be
There's more
continuation or
coming.
even worse in January. How are you thinking about this, and are you doing anything particular to prepare?
She's right, though. I mean, we're not done here. I mean, we haven't learned something, and that's it. Now we can offer it for the rest of our lives, and there's no uncertainty anymore. Definitely not. I mean, we were fully relying on in-person events before and incoming business from abroad. and now we have completely shifted. And it's about finding that balance in the way we move forward. But it's still very much month by month, on month by month basis, that we are exploring and continuing and developing our strategy, because it is simply unknown to all of us what is going to be the situation in 2021. And we can check all of the analysis, and we can attend all of the future of events, etc., style events, and everybody has an opinion, sure, but they keep changing every month. The opinions change, the numbers change, the expectations change. So there's no foolproof way to prepare yourself for what's coming. I believe that
Absolutely.
diversifying your offering is the most important. To get that education about virtual events, hybrid events are definitely coming. So get ready for that. Have that knowledge, build as much as you can, and invest in this period, because we never when we are producing events back to back, we never have a time or chance to really explore new things and develop new things and be innovative. And this is the golden opportunity right here. So it's about that. But in terms of uncertainty, there is no certainty. So try to create new revenue, new income streams, virtual products that can be monetized, etc., in the period moving forward. And then obviously keep doing what you've always been doing, but take it one step at a time.
Excellent. Well, those great sort of ending words. I don't need to ask you to wrap up. I think that's you've given everybody some great advice there. Just a quick thought about the event, and I know it hasn't happened yet, so we can't learn from it necessarily yet, or maybe there are learnings already. But in terms of success, what does success look like for you? What is kind of your big fat hairy goal that this event that you might reach with this event? Is there anything you can share with us?
To me, it's already a success, to be honest. It's been an amazing experience for us and for the people who are involved at this stage. And with what we know today, we are certain that we will deliver something that event profs and people in the industry will very much enjoy. So this is already the success part in itself. And we want to grow from there. So we want to obviously inspire people. We want everybody. One of my pet peeves is education. It's always been like, also in terms of understanding the different roles in the industry and who does what. We've always been kind of selling ourselves in a way that explains why you actually need these services, right? And that's what we're doing over and over again now, also in with virtual events. Like, why would you do a virtual event? What's the value of a virtual event? Why do you need someone to help you with a virtual event? We're not talking about Zoom and Teams meetings anymore, and that's kind of a message that needs to be communicated over and over again. But with the digital trip, it's really my hope that there will be a wider understanding for just the terminologies, the process behind it, what kind of a project it is, because many people are curious about it now. There is still a lot of people who don't necessarily understand what goes into it. So it's quite nice that we are able to communicate that now with this event, and that we're all moving forward together. I mean, we've been super supportive of each other in the event profs community lately in the last couple of months, and I really hope that we can continue doing that.
Excellent. Excellent perspective. I think that's the way to do it, and that's why one of the reasons I wanted to have you on this edition is that this is kind of pushing the boundaries. This is trying something new, and I think, like you say, even though it hasn't happened yet, the fact that people are talking about it, the fact that it's opening people's minds, and you're having discussions about these things is super positive. So even from a kind of overall view on the industry, I think it's excellent. So congratulations on that. I wish you a lot of success. We're, what is it, a little bit over a month, 5 weeks away, something like that. You may have a big countdown somewhere that you know exactly how many minutes and hours left,
Yes,
but
it is.
yeah, it's happening. It's happening pretty soon. So thank you very much, Heidi, for being with us today. I just want to announce a couple of things of the show coming up. We have the next Cooking Up Virtual events happening this Friday already. We have 2 coming up just before the winter break. So I'll just bring up Ruud Janssen is the next guest. This is happening this Friday at 3 p.m. I believe. I'll add it in the comments to the show. And as you know, we have the online events wiki where all the Cooking Up Virtual events episodes are listed, and also where I have a list of over 187 and counting different tools. This is what it looks like. This is way too many tools, but if at any point you're interested in exploring different tools for your events, it's a resource that you can use, and InEvent is listed, so it is one of the options for you there. So please have a look at that, and make sure to check out the online events wiki for the other episodes of this, other editions of this show that we've had before. So Heidi, once again, thank you for joining us. We're going to wrap up there. I want to make sure to give people time to go back to their day, because I always find it's nice if you don't end overtime. So thank you again, and see everybody hopefully Friday. Heidi, I hope you join us again for other events, and we can all learn from each other in Cooking Up Virtual events online.
Absolutely.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much for having me, Miguel. Have a nice day.
Cheers, Heidi. Take care. Bye-bye.